Alex Martin, software sales candidate, CDM technology, just placed. Alex, how would you describe your perspective on the current job market, especially within software sales?
The current job market, I'd say, is kind of a tough, difficult one to navigate, if I'm being completely honest. I think a lot of us are still stuck in the traditional sense of build your one generic resume, fire it out, and you should get some calls or returns back. But quickly, as I have realized, and a lot of my other counterparts, is a much longer process to actually get in the door now. Companies are a lot pickier on who they're actually taking on. And with all the adoption of technology, AI, you see a lot of big and smaller companies downsizing. They're realizing they need less people and less resources for what they can accomplish. So overall, I think getting a job has, and just today's general market for software sales has turned into a much strenuous and tougher approach than ever has been.
Yeah. What would you say, like from a software sales standpoint, how has AI impacted your job search and or the hiring of software sales? Is AI affecting affecting the software sales job in any which way, shape, or form?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that from one, you can start from the ground up. A lot of companies now are using them kind of as their SDRs or people who are booking meetings or vetting the clients or potential clients. So you're finding a lot of companies are just as effective or more effective utilizing AI tools and utilizing automations instead of, leaning on sales reps or leaning on people that they're just bringing on.
What's your counter to AI leaning on, like eliminating the SDR and AI leaning on basically acting as the SDR versus you, the account executive, where typically the SDR teed up the account executive and the account executive now takes over and fulfills the sales process. Whereas, do you feel like you're much better off being an account executive because you're doing things soup to nuts?
Yes, for sure. I think you have to know how to do things soup to nuts going forward now. And one of the biggest things I've realized is, companies they're not taking the middleman, they're not taking the person that's just average. And that's a big thing going forward. And that's why it's really hard for people to get hired in the tech space and the tech sales spot, is because if you were an average performer before, then there's no really real need for you at the company going forward.
Right. So AI is kind of taking over that average performer job role. Right.
Which is what's made it so hard to get even your foot in the door during interviews, is these companies aren't taking, a general resume. They're not taking just, an applicant just because they look good on paper.
Right.
They need to be qualified with real measurables, attaining quota and really going above and beyond at their last job that they were at.
How long were you exploring new opportunities, and what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I was exploring new opportunities for about 4 to 5 months, I would say. And really throughout that time, it was a lot of send out an application and get a rejection email back. So the toughest part about this is just staying disciplined and staying, motivated to actually get out there and find a job. So luckily enough for me, I already had a job as I had started my search. But for me personally, I just wanted to kind of go on to something bigger and better, something that more aligned with my goals and really where I wanted to go in the future. And so, really throughout this whole process, I had to dive in, utilize the resources online, and utilize all my references that I knew.
Any memorable interview moments, good, bad, or indifferent, that stand out in your job search?
Yeah, I think now compared to even a couple of years ago, it's more so about telling a story and actually having data to back it. So, really in all my interviews that I took, they want to know your sales process. They want to know how you hit it. They want to know the number of dials, your average deal size, compared to you just being a team player or, getting along with everyone or being a relationship builder. They actually want you to know your direct metrics that tie back to the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
And one thing that really stood out to me is, there is no fluff. There is no BS. If you're not completely 100% honest and accurate with what you're doing, the recruiter or the sales manager can sniff it out real quick.
So a very good segue into what was it like working with CDM technology, and a lot of our counters in today's day and age to the AI generation or the AI revolution, whatever you want to call it, is we're not just pushing paper, right? Like, clients are getting fed up with these pieces of paper. These resumes look so perfect, and they're having 10, 15-minute conversations with these people, and they're realizing like, oh, this person's not perfect at all. Whereas when they work with CDM technology, they're getting a candidate, they're getting a resume, but they're also getting a story about that person. So that said, what was your experience like working with CDM technology and helping you find a new job?
Yeah, I mean, before I did start working with CDM technology, kind of as I mentioned earlier, it was just firing off a bunch of applications, couldn't seem to actually get my name or get anything going forward. So once I was really actually able to work with a, technical recruiting company, people who know players in the business, who know the sales managers and are actively looking to fill these roles, it really just made my life a whole lot easier. I was able to come in, tell CDM my story, what I was looking for, and really what would benefit me the most in my role going forward. And when I was able to have that genuine conversation with CDM and with everyone that I worked with here, it was really able to propel me, forward in the job search, not only for maybe a company that would be right for me, but also getting me in front of the people I needed to talk to.
What advice would you give others that are currently navigating the job market, especially within a very competitive and a very uncertain environment, and then segregating that farther down into software sales?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to treat the job market like it is your full-time job, especially if you're not with one currently. So you can't just wake up, fire off 10 easy applies on LinkedIn and hope that you're going to get an interview and get your foot in the door.
Right.
You really have to network with people. You've got to be tailoring your resume to each job. Make sure you have key specifics, key metrics that make you stand out, not just kind of put you in the middle ground of the pack. And the biggest thing is use your resources. Send people messages on LinkedIn, reach out to recruiting companies, reach out to, CDM technology, and really let other people drive that work for you while you're also networking and, doing it on your own too.
Totally. Well, so you said you were looking for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
How did you stay motivated during those 4 to 5 months?
Because what a lot of people don't know is, you may see a job that popped up 24 hours ago and it already has 1,000 applicants, right?
Right.
So at that point, your resume could look the exact same as the other 400 or 500 people that are in the qualifying, realm. So without kind of getting that extra push or that extra recommendation, then it's really hard to get your name at the top of that list.
Yeah, it's really good. Looking back, what was most important to you in finding the right opportunity for you?
Yeah, so I'd say that the first, 1 or 2 months is kind of just soft looking, really just exploring the job market. But then when I was really heavily pursuing it, something that kept me motivated was just having daily tasks that I'd set for myself every single day. So making sure, I spent 30, 45 minutes fully researching, 3 different companies, researching who their sales manager was, who the decision makers were, and, kind of taking steps to actually proactively reach out to them instead of just sending in my resume and hoping I get a response. So I think it's just about setting kind of daily goals and making sure you're staying to it.
Yeah.
Now that you've landed your new role, CDM technology obviously helped you.
Oh, yeah.
How has your perspective on the hiring process changed?
Yeah, so finding the right opportunity for me was, a mixture of culture, also looking at kind of how long people had been with the company for, and really making sure the product was going to be something that was, scalable, already had very good use cases, and has been in the market for a while. So when I found this job with Raken, that was kind of the biggest thing, and just leaning in on their culture, talking to multiple people who already work at the company and meeting with the sales manager. And really just understanding kind of the day in the life of, what I would be doing was big for me. And just seeing how much support, that they give you, and they really want you to kind of make your own destiny is what, really propelled me to them.
Now that you've landed your new role, CDM technology obviously helped you.
Oh, yeah.
How has your perspective on the hiring process changed?
Yeah, so if I was to go through this again, I don't think I'd try it on my own. That's for sure. So I've been there, done that, and utilizing a third party, especially someone like CDM technology, really was able to get me in front of the people I needed to talk to, and just kind of took a lot of stress off my back. So before I felt like I had to do this all on my own, I was constantly having to reach out to people and just kind of getting it back in with CDM. Them kind of knowing my background, knowing what I was good at, and putting me in front of the right people really helped.